Hello everyone. So we are working on the manage and analyze geodata. So I described the what are the items we need to work on this lesson. So we talked about the sources of info data previously, the GIS data types, and then we also need to add the coordinate system. So you will see in one of the exercise it's been shown how we can add using the CRS tool, and then how we can visualize our data, and then symbology it's actually shown in other videos. Take a look at those on this page, also on the exercise page. So today what we have is what are the geoprocessing tools we will be using in this course. So you can see the geoprocessing tools I mentioned in here. Also for this lecture video, we are going to work on this slide, geoprocessing tools. So I described the concept of GIS in the previous lecture, and then today I will basically focus on this part. So in GIS we have actually information in tables. So in those tables we try to relate with other tables. So let's say in relational database, you actually saw that in LibreOffice how we connect different tables. The idea is similar, but we do it in a different way. So let's say in one table we have UBC students information, and they are actually in different programs. In another table we have students information with the courses they are taking. So that means we have two tables and we have two kinds of information, but information of all UBC students. So that means we can connect between those. So whenever we are connecting them, we have four possible cases. We call it cardinality. So that means we can make the connection between tables using one-to-one. That means in one table, information of observation is actually connected with another observation, and then we connect those two using the one-to-one. Or we could have one-to-many. That means one students or one course. In one course we could have multiple students, and it could be many to one. That means many students are actually coming from one program. Many to many students are taking many courses. So that means there could be four possible cases. So I actually shown it in different tables. So in one-to-one you can see when we are connecting them, so we have student information, we have other information of the university. So you can see we have the program IDs. So that means whenever we are joining them using this program ID, we can join these two tables, and we can actually make one table. If we have information of some counties, you can see information of counties and their IDs are mentioned here. In another table, if we have percentage of population changes, then if we want to bring them together, that means in the first table we have four attributes. In the second table we have two attributes, and these two attributes are same. That means using these two attributes we can connect these two tables. In one table we can have FID, name, ID, and percentage of population changes. Or we can have many to one. So that means if we have many information, and we can actually make another table where we will have a shorter table. You can say I gave other information as well, many to one. So that means we have zone code of some polygons, and using the zone code we are trying to connect them. So you can see more information I try to give, and then when we are joining them, so you can see we are joining two tables together. So in one of the exercise you will see that the video is showing how we can join two tables. So let's say we have information of roads and we have information of reverse, you can actually join those two layers. So basically we need to have a shared identifier, then we can join those two tables together. Then in geoprocessing tool, as I said that we are going to learn the geoprocessing tools are these 7 tools. So by the name of it, if we're talking about dissolve, that means we are going to dissolve some of those symbols. So let's say geoprocessing tools, where we can find them. To identify the geoprocessing tool on QGIS, you have to go to the processing and then you can find that toolbox. That toolbox then will show up in here, and then basically we will be using the vector geometry. In vector geometry we can find those tools, but you can also type in here in this box. So let's say the tools that we are going to work on is the clip. You can see, you can just click on it and then you can use clip. If you're not sure what clip is, then you can read it from here. The description is provided. Also, let's say we are going to work on dissolve, DISS, dissolve. So you can see dissolve will show up and you can work on this. Also, if you want, you can also go on to the vector and then geoprocessing tools, you can identify those. So we'll be using buffer, clip, and difference, dissolve. You will also be working on intersection and then union as well. Okay, so the first one, let's see what we have in the geoprocessing is the dissolve. So that means we are basically aggregating information. So if we have the layers, let's say we have some items on our data sets. So let's go in there, go into our data set. So you can see we are using the roads layer. So in the roads layer we have 4 variable information. So we have the province information. That means if we have some groups, then we can say that only for that group, that means the criteria we have, the provinces we have, only show me the roads layer for those provinces. That means it's going to dissolve, that means aggregate the feature information and show everything by province. That means it's going to reduce. So let's say where we have the roads layer, if you don't have the roads layer, you need to bring it from your data set. This data set is coming from the exercise, so you can bring in the roads. Let's say I brought the roads here. So that means in Ecuador, where we have the roads layer only. So if you open the attribute table, you will see that how many roads we have, 343. So in here 343 roads. If you want, you can identify a few of them. So you can see it's showing into yellow color, those are identified. So what we will do, only based on what are the provinces we have, so based on that provinces we will be only showing the roads. That means if it is divided into many roads, it will only be showing by provinces. So if I want to use dissolve, then I need to open dissolve. So description is also provided here, and you need to identify which road you are going to use. So let's say Ecuador main roads, you need to identify, since I used many data file and did many analysis to show you. So that's it might be difficult if we have too many of them in here. So we are using the roads, and then we have to say that dissolve for which variable. If we identify that and say that yes, that's the one I'm going to dissolve, and then you need to choose where you want to save it. You can find your output directory where you want to save, give it a name, and then if you run it, you will see that it's actually been done quickly. So that means it's it doesn't take time to run and then create the dissolve. So you can see, since I did not give any name, it shows up here. So if I open the table, so you can see we have less because it's only by provinces. It's showing me the roads. So if I select 5 of them, so you can see, so that means we actually aggregate the information. So let's deselect and let's go back to our slide. So you can see we have information of population in a city, and then you can see we have different city and then different population density, and then we shown it by color, but we also have the borders. So we say that dissolve them for each of those cities. So that means it's actually aggregated the information. So buffer is another tool where we calculate the proximity. That means, let's say we have some roads or stream, and we say that we would like to create some buffer around these roads. Then you have to say how large or how far you want to go from your roads, and then you can create the buffer. And if it is a point, you can say that create a buffer around those points and then dissolve them. So you can see dissolved. That means it's aggregated the information. And if it is a line, you can dissolve for those you can actually create the buffer and dissolve. And if we have polygon, then we can create buffer and then dissolve them. So we can also do another advanced analysis. Let's say we want to create the buffer based on the size of those size of or the information of other variable. So let's say we say that create the buffer and customize them. We say that 200 meters for the first one, for the second one 1 mile, and then third one and fourth one. So that means based on the numbers we have in another attribute, we created the buffer. But basically we will be creating buffer just like I showed you in here. So I created the buffer using some using the points, and then you can see I also dissolved them. So when we create the buffer and dissolve, it creates just one polygon. So let's show you when I dissolved and created the all of the points layer I had. So that means it creates just one big file. So if you go to the settlement buffer, then you will see that it's separated into points. But then again, when I dissolved everything, that means just in one, just created one information. So you can see we have those points, and then I actually added some buffer and I dissolve all of them. Okay. So clip, when we have a larger data set, and then based on some information in some region, if we want to locate one region only, if we from the bigger data set, then we can use the clip. So let's say we have the data set, the input layer, and then we have a circular clip feature. So basically it's like a cookie cutter. If we place on top of the input layer, then we can basically get the information in what we have the shape in the clip feature, and then all information we have on the input layer is actually saved on the output layer, but then again it's just like the shape we have on the clip feature. So basically if we change let's say if we have the lines, the roads, and then we have the cliff feature, it will be saved as the line feature. And then if we have points will be saved as a points, but only the information we needed on this shape will be saved. So on this example, so you can see I already did it. So you can see in Ecuador I have some settlement points layer, and then over here, so I said that I will be using the zone 3 as my clip feature. So let's say zone 3 will be here. Okay, you can say this is zone 3, and then this will be used as a clip feature. So that means as a cookie cutter, I will only save the information that we have overlapped with this shape. So if I save it using the if I use the clip processing tool, then you will see that we have the, so that means just by the shape it saved the information. And then if you go to the always check the attribute table. In the attribute table you can see we have less information than before, and all the information we had on this element layer is actually saved here. So union processing tool is just it works as a merging layer, merging two layers. So that means we have two tables or two layers on our map, and then we can have roads, we can have rivers, and then we are merging them wherever they are intersecting. Or so let's say, let's open the layer that might make more sense. So you can find the union layer, and you have to say which two layers you are going to join. So you will see that for overlapping and non-overlapping areas, it's actually saved them separately, and then it also keeps the boundary. So that means if we join two layers using the union tools, it will also keep the boundaries wherever they intersect. So for intersection, that means it's only save the intersection. So if we have roads, if we have the rivers, if both are there, so that means wherever they intersect, I actually added the buffer first, and then I use the intersect. So that means wherever they intersect, you can see wherever they are intersecting, it's actually saving them as an intersect. That means the roads and rivers, whenever we add buffers, then it's intersect, and the intersections are saved in another layer. Difference is the opposite of intersect. That means wherever it overlaps, you can see we have some polygons, we have some the roads layer. In the roads layer I actually added some buffer, so wherever they intersect, it's actually removes that part. So by the name of split, it's just what it says in the word, that means splits. So vector layers, whenever we say that split them, so that means divide them. If we have the map of South America, so we say that separate each country. So you have to mention which attribute you want to use. So as I said that we use the country attribute, so it is going to divide by country. That means in your directory you will see that it's creating data set for each of those countries. So if you bring in the data, you will see that it's separated by country. So at a glance you can see the clip. If we have the input layer and if we have the overlay, clip actually keeps the information what we have as the shape on this overlay layer. Intersect, wherever we intersect these two, it gives the information. Differences, that means it takes out wherever it intersect. So you can see just the opposite of what we have in intersect. And union, it joins those two. So it also keeps the border. So that's it for the geoprocessing tool. And whenever you work on it, save all the layers. Input layer we gave you, you can save all the layers you are going to create on the output. So you can see we worked on the shapefiles. Basically the SHP is for shapefile. So save your work and save where you can identify them in here. So where is the directory where you are saving your project. So that's it for geoprocessing tool. Practice all of them in the exercise session. Also, if you are not sure, see the previous video I made for you and see the project and coordinate system, how we can add the coordinate system if we don't have the coordinate system, and how we can visualize our data in QGIS. Thank you.